Hi, today we're going to talk about how to build a team composition, and we're going to have a focus on the jungle pick to do so. The reason why the focus is on the jungle pick is because junglers are often taken in the first or second rotation with the intent of setting the foundation upon which the team comp is built on. A key factor for building a composition is to offset as many of the champions' weaknesses while enabling or enhancing their strengths. So when I look at the jungle champions, I look for four things. The first one being the pressure that they provide, the damage that they dish out, their tankiness, and the crowd control. With that in mind, let's take a look at Rek'Sai, the most popular jungler. She is a high pressure, low to medium damage, medium to high tankiness, and with decent but reliable crowd control. So the best way to pair with Rek'Sai would be to bring a champion that can follow up and make up for her damage, which is excellent and is the reason why she's so popular in these triple carry meta, because carries top, bring enough damage, and don't need to bring CC. Therefore, Rek'Sai can just initiate, and as long as there's follow-up, she is great. That's why picks like Swain, the Ryze, and the Lissandra are excellent to go with Rek'Sai. Easy follow-up, easy damage. Whereas if you were to pair Rek'Sai with a Shen or Maokai, the lack of damage would be decreasing the kill pressure as levels and items get gained, therefore nullifying the high pressure and making it so that if the team wants to make any plays, it'll have to revolve around the mid lane or the AD carry where the damage is there and you're able to quickly execute or kill anybody. With that in mind, let's take a look at Nidalee, who alongside Kindred were the top picks in the tanked meta. The reason why they're the tanked top meta is because these junglers are high damage, high pressure, low tankiness, and with little to no CC. So the best thing to benefit with these champions would be to bring champions that offer a front line and can soak up damage to create room for these two to dish out DPS. So picks like Shen, the Maokai, and the Trundle would be excellent along these two because they do just that. Whereas if you were to combo, say, Kindred with a Rumble, while the damage would be absolutely insane, chances are, if you are going to get in a position to dish out damage, these two picks could easily get either killed or nearly killed before doing so by the likes of, say, an Azir or a Victor. So it's a lot less reliable and, frankly, risky. Now let's put the focus on Gragas, a pick who has become priority since 6.13 due to the mutilation of Kindred, the jungle experience catch-up change, as well as the kill experience changes of 6.13. Now, Gragas is a champion that offers medium to high pressure. He has medium damage. He's extremely tanky and offers a plethora of CC, more than any other meta jungler right now. So the best thing to take advantage of this pick would be champions that can provide as much damage as possible and benefit from having zones and that lack engage. So cue the Gangplank pick. Because of the Irelia and Swain and Trundle nerfs, now Gangplank has seen a surge in popularity and is arguably the highest damage champion in the game. So a pick like Gragas, who can offer both peel and engage, works wonders for Gangplank, who needs exactly that. Well, alongside these three junglers lies someone who is lost but quite not forgotten, which is Elise. And Elise is a high pressure, high damage, low tankiness, and average but unreliable CC. Well, if you compare what we just mentioned about Elise to, say, the likes of Nidalee, they're oddly similar. So why would anybody pick Elise over Nidalee, where Elise falls off as her damage does and her scaling is quite unreliable and her CC is not the main engage? So the same compositions that benefit from having an Elise would also benefit from having a Nidalee. Where Elise is unreliable and lacks scaling, the Nidalee, it can always be reliable, and she's always going to be able to provide pressure, because if she can't assist the lane, she can always be in the opposing jungler either getting wards or countering jungling, which is why it often makes no sense to pick the Elise when the Nidalee is still available. So she's a little bit of a lesser version. And as a final note, let's give mention to Hecarim, a jungler with low pressure, medium to high damage, medium to high tankiness, and pretty strong engage or CC. Well, the best thing to benefit from a pick like Hecarim would be to pick laners that don't need any help. So cue the P1 Shen Hecarim Azir composition. Two laners that can basically make it out of lane nearly even in almost every matchup, and without any jungle help whatsoever. Another great help with the Hecarim would be champions that are able to easily follow up on his deep engage as either a dive buddy or a long range threat, which is why Shen works wonders with him to bolster his tankiness and put him right into the mix of everything, while Azir can either engage and follow up, or can dish out enough DPS at a distance that is relatively the same range at which Hecarim should be engaging on. And while those champions make sense and you'd want to have a dive buddy, and let's say that your top laner is a great Irelia, and Irelia would be wonderful to dive the back lane with Hecarim, it's unrealistic to think that Irelia would be able to make it out of laning phase even without the help of the jungler. And if the opposing jungler chooses to put pressure into the Irelia lane, it's unlikely that the Hecarim would be able to really capitalize on that and truly turn the tides. So that's why, while the combination could make sense, it's not practical. And that's the whole point of all this, to keep that mindset that you want to really cater to the best comp that you could have. So let's wrap things up with some closing thoughts. When you build a composition, you want to offset weaknesses while enabling or enhancing strengths. And due to the rise of carries in the top lane and mages in supports, we're seeing a rise of tanky junglers, such as the Gragas, the Rek'Sai, the Hecarims, that can be rather popular and offer the engage or the tankiness that is needed to build compositions that can benefit from only one tank. So things like the Karma and the Nami truly enhance that tank a little bit more, making him really tanky. And it's easy to see how this portrays, but one other aspect that we haven't mentioned, I'm saving it all until the very end, is the champions that your teammates can actually play. And it's so important because let's say that your top laner is a wonderful carry player and your jungler also happens to be an excellent carry player, both very mechanically gifted, and you choose to go with two champions that are conflicting in the views that we just spoke of, such as, let's say you pick the Graves with Irelia, well, it's going to be really difficult to really get off the ground and try to make something happen. And with that in mind, you have to build compositions to meet each other halfway, and it's often better to do so as opposed to just trying to bolster each other's strengths. And as a side note, if you're going to play solo queue, it might work, but try to avoid copying a team like Immortals, who can get away with picking a lot of compositions like that due to their high macro play and high mechanical skill. Obviously, they're very talented, and they're able to surpass this with just sheer skill. And there's a reason why they're seemingly the only team in the world that can do this or chooses to do this. So do not copy them. Don't try to imitate that. If you like this kind of content and kind of in-depth to the way you think about the compositions and more specifically the jungle, I would recommend that you stop by the NALCS on Friday, in which we're going to have a jungle focus stream on the CLG versus Immortals matchup with Xmithia and Reignover. And if you like the video or have any suggestions for future videos, feel free to comment and let me know, and we'll see what can happen, as I often do make videos for your suggestions.